Hello there, you beautiful people. My name is Willow, and welcome back to Supreme Commander Forge the Lanes Forever for another high-level Seton's game, and of course, for a long one. It's gonna be a very spicy game. Make sure you have a snack or drink ready for your viewing entertainment. And let's get into player introductions with the Northern team taking up the mantle of Team 1 and the Southern team taking up the mantle of Team 2. And we will start with the pink UEF in the rear guard air position for Team 1. He is ready to rumble, and his name is JT. Then we can move on to the south with the rock player, a purple Cybran going first air. His name, of course, gonna go to be Leto 2. I don't know why I said that so weird. Why? His name, of course, gonna go to B. Yes, the standard introduction as we move on to the front player for Team 1, a green UEF going first land, and of course, going by the name of Early Doors. Then to the north of him, we have an orange Aeon Best faction, and his name is Cheeseberry, and he's gone first air. As we can move on to Team 2 with the rearguard air player, a white Cybran going first land, and his name is PB Mize. And then over to the north of him, we can go to the rock position with a man named Arma 473. And of course, he's gone first air as the best faction, Aeon. And he is rocking this rock position. As we move on to the frontal player for Team 2, a blue Cybran going first land. And his name, of course, is McDonald's. Then last but not least for the entire game and getting his feet wet in the water is a light blue Cybran going first land, and his name is this is Trandan, not McDonald's. Man, I really butchered the intros on this one, but that is no matter because we need to look at the map. Of course, there is Setons, as we all know and love, 15,000 reclaim overall, about 13,000 of it gonna be centralized here in the middle of the causeway where these players will fight. And while we talk about the map, we should probably remind you to go down below. Check that subscribe button. Is it red? Shame on you. Hit it, slap it, abuse it, turn it gray. I am having a lot of trouble speaking today. Maybe don't. I shouldn't be encouraged for this horrible casting. As we, of course, watch these players get into the reclaim, we will be checking on those numbers soon. Setons is a map that we all know and love. We have the two big pawns that are the general deciding factor on who will win the game. They are very important, and usually you're going to see the front players, especially in higher level games, get involved in the pawns after the early game. And we have the air players who are also very pivotal because keeping your navy alive against torpedo bombers is harder than it may seem. Of course, we have to look at the ratings of the players involved, and we have a large range of about 1,300 all the way to 2,100, but overall a very high rated game, gonna be very fun to watch. Let's go ahead and check on those reclaim numbers. McDonald's leading the pack, as is to be expected. He has the biggest mismatch between his rating and his direct opponent's rating. It's McDonald's and Early Doors playing the frontal positions. It's a 1,900 versus a 1,500. That is 400 points of rating between these players. So Early Doors has his work cut out for him, but he is going to get some assistance as Cheeseberry and Trandan start making their way to the middle. It's a very common practice here on Setons nowadays. Used to be not so much the case, but it does seem that getting control of this central causeway is very important to these higher level players. So Cheeseberry and Trandan going to show up soon. Early Doors just walking all the way over here to grab this reclaim, and all of the Salems are still up, and the Salems themselves having nearly 1,500 mass worth of reclaim makes them incredibly important. Although I do believe that overall there is more reclaim outside of those Salem wrecks, but you generally feel good if you can get all 3 of them for yourself. Cheeseberry walking all the way forward, looks like he just wants to immediately get himself into those Salem wrecks, and McDonald's is going a little bit low on HP here. He's been eating a lot of shots from early doors. McDonald's down to 5,700 HP and falling quickly due to Cheeseberry and early doors calm. And he is sitting on the highest reclaim. He's traded his health for that momentary gain in mass income, and he has gotten up to 5,000 reclaim so far, which is a little under, or a little over a third of all of the reclaim in this entire area by himself. We have a few units now starting to clash over here. On the mini-map, we can check out and see that both Arma and, of course, Leto too, managing to get their side islands as these players continue to duke it out. Early doors and McDonald's looking really bad shape for their HP so far, 5,000 and 4,000 respectively. Cheeseberry, the only player really unscathed at 9,000 HP versus Trandan, who's now down to 5,000 himself. He's going to be in a little bit of trouble, needs to stop reclaiming and hopefully stop eating these Lobo shots, which are super dangerous to him. He is maybe going to be able to get a rank of veterancy here soon. As long as he just keeps firing into these units, he should be alright. He's going to start walking away down to 2,400 HP. Could be a huge blow if they take out one of the 2 1900s on Team 2 before the match really even gets started. Trandan still trying to pick up a lot of reclaim. Overall reclaims between the teams dead even. They have managed to get about the same amount of reclaim between all of these players in the middle. And now McDonald's and Trandan looking much worse than early doors and Cheeseberry as they just have a lot less HP. Trandan falling back, going to grab some reclaim. That's a little bit of a risky move, down to 2,300 HP. He is very much so within the range of a kill here if he does not micro properly. And McDonald's is currently just trying to play spoiler, trying to defend his blue Cybern ally. But Trandan seemingly keen on sticking around and picking up a little bit more reclaim, although that could be very dangerous for him. McDonald's and early doors having both been relatively low on HP for a while now, are trying to scoot away from the combat. Trandan down to 2,000 HP once again. He's not managed to get a rank of veterancy. He's starting to run away down at 1,600 HP. Cheeseberry pushing forward down to 6,000 HP. This could be a little bit dangerous. We could see a chain explosion of comms here if things don't go well for one or the other team. Trandan, the first player to go down. Cheeseberry gonna grab the kill there. 160 HP on to McDonald's as he manages to slink his way into the water. And man, speaking is difficult for me today. Don't know what's gotten into me, but my mouth is not doing what my brain says, or maybe my brain is not up to the task. But Cheeseberry and early doors gain an early victory here in the middle. And there's still a decent little bit of reclaim, about 1,500 for them to scoop up, and it will allow them to have pretty much free reign on attacking down here in the middle. We could see a very similar situation as to what happened in the last Seton's game I casted, where you have comms walking forward, would want to avoid the scary situation that they found themselves in that last game, of course, where you have 2 comms very vulnerable. But early doors and Cheeseberry, I'm sure, are happy with the situation thus far, and McDonald's is happy he managed to make it out of there alive. So let's look at the map. We lost Trandan, one of the 1900s, for Team 2, which means that now McDonald's is going to be taking over the beach position as well as this position here in the middle, which is going to put him on most likely the strongest economy in the game as we go in very early. Yes, our first player to peak 100 mass a second is going to be McDonald's. I don't know why I'm confusing their names so hard. But McDonald's is here to stay. He's here to spread his American fast food goodness to the rest of the world and give them Mantis burgers for all the time to come. And of course, we need to look into the navies. We have differing opinions on how these players want to approach things. We have Cheeseberry up here going for just 1 factory with a lot of assistance. Meanwhile, Arma going for a grand total of well, he's building another one. He's going to have about 15 to 20 factories total when all of these build queues finish up. Hopefully, he can afford that. He is behind Cheeseberry on eco, but not by too terribly much. And everybody is sort of just trying to stabilize, make sure their economies are up to snuff and at least matching, if not overpowering, the enemy players. And for now, we're going to be seeing a bit of a quiet portion of the game. A few submarines out from Arma 473 going to be able to kill off some of these frigates that can't really fight back. They are Aeon frigates, so I believe they have torpedo defense. That is very true, but it's not as good as the later techs of torpedo defense. And now we, of course, have a transport coming for McDonald's. He's going to pick up that commander. Wants to make sure he gets out really early, but does have a decent little interceptor screen over here from his ally Arma. And yeah, I want to make sure that comm is moving. Don't want to just sit on a transport, can be dangerous. We're getting into the range of the game where T3 air has been achieved. Those T3 power generators are going to be finished up, if not already finished up. And ASF are going to start proliferating across the battlefield, maybe even see a strat bomber. As as McDonald's, man, I am not going to be able to get their names right. I'll eventually clean up my act, I promise. I'm going to get that transport moving, is going to drop near his main base. And we have a moment to just sit and think. Make sure you drink, get hydrated, have yourself a nice little ice water if that's what you prefer, or room temperature. I'm a room temperature water myself kind of person, but today I'm having some tea. Iced tea, because I'm a Southern American and I have pride in our iced tea. I know that most of the world drinks it hot, but you all are weird. That's what coffee's for. Don't at me. As we meander our way towards 12 minutes, we have ourselves a hoplite on the front lines. First sign of T2 land units on the front line. And give me just 1 second. Sorry about that awkward little pause there. I, of course, probably edited it out. I've been dealing with some allergies yet again, and I was about to go into a coughing fit. I'm pretty sure I coughed a couple of times while trying to talk, and I have now dealt with that. So let's go ahead and see what's going on over here on the eastern side. We have a few frigates coming out from McDonald's, and by a few, I mean a lot. He's really overpowering the navy of Leto 2 here, and Leto 2 could be in a dangerous position. Needs to make sure he's not opening himself up too heavily. Is going to spam out some torpedo launchers, which is important. Right now we see the units out from McDonald's trying to get shoved in between these factories. If he can focus down the torpedo bombers or torpedo launchers, that would be good. And man, my head is just out of it apparently, because I cannot seem to commentate properly. I know that whenever I say these kinds of things, people are like, you're doing fine. But like, I strive to be the best caster in all the lands. And I'm not doing good today. But, you know who else isn't doing too good? Leto 2. He's having some struggles. If it weren't for all of the torpedo launching assisting devices here, these frigates would be running amok. We have torpedo launchers, we have barracudas, we have slivers, we have all the forms of torpedoes out onto the field right now for Leto 2, and that is just a stopgap. If he cannot manage to get up a strong surface fleet to combat these frigates, it's gonna go poorly for him. But the good news is a lot of mass gonna be dropped onto the ground over here. We already have around 600 here in the main base, the main production line. We're gonna have some engineers going down, and there's still some stuff sinking, but we're gonna have about 600 there. That's 1,200 mass in total for him to scoop up, and that's gonna be like half of an upgrade for a T3 Mex, and that is what you have to be looking at here as we see a lot of T3 Mexes started queuing up now for McDonald's. Surprisingly, his first T3 Mex is arguably the most vulnerable Mex on the map, but then again, it gets that boost of HP, makes it a little bit harder to kill. So maybe that's really the best call here. He's getting another one in his main base. I'm sure he has some over here that are about to start upgrading if they haven't already. A reclaim order onto that factory, wants to get full adjacency on all of his core mexes over there. And now we have more frigates and more units just pumping out from Leto 2. And he is starting to match McDonald's in the Navy. Meanwhile, on the Northern Navy, it's looking a little bit precarious for Cheeseberry. Cheeseberry sitting on a much stronger economy than Arma, 30 mass a second ahead, but Arma opting for all of these factories means that he just has so much more in terms of his T1 naval phase, and I don't know if he understands it just yet, but he is in a very strong position. That one destroyer and one cruiser coming out from Cheeseberry is not nearly enough to stop all of this if he goes whole hog, if he just attacks into Cheeseberry right now. He could be in a strong position, but I think he's probably getting a little psyched out. This is something that happens with players. A lot of players don't realize that they have just such a strong advantage over a higher rated player. They just assume they're going to play better, and that's where scouting comes in key. You can see here, he can see that he has T2 Navy, he can see a few ships, but he doesn't really know that this is it. There's like 6 or 7 ships on the map for his opponent, and he is sitting on 21 frigates, 20 frigates. He's losing frigates to a destroyer that he could just kill with this force. And that is something you have to keep your eyes on. This scout should be giving him a decent amount of information that the Navy is light for Cheeseberry, and if he can knock Cheeseberry out of the water relatively early, it will still be hard, even for a higher rated player, to get back into the water. It's just a very difficult game once you're put into that position. So Cheeseberry playing with fire, but he's being incredibly greedy and already up to over 180 mass a second versus Arma at 140. McDonald's blazing ahead at 307, and once the T3 mechs has started for him, they just have not stopped. 2, 3, I would be a surprise, 4 T3 mexes. He's going to have them all online in a very short time period. A lot of T3 mexes now going up for PB Mize as well. Leto 2 has recovered, and now we see that Early Doors is getting into the Navy over here to help out Leto 2, which is something you can kind of just expect. I would also not be surprised to see McDonald's throw his weight around in this Navy, but he needs to be careful. He has a lot to manage here, and it's very easy to find yourself lacking in one aspect of the game when you're having to play all of them against players playing something specified. And of course, we will have to wait and see what time tells and how the match goes. But as of right now, Team 2 ahead economically by just a hair. And both sides looking relatively strong. Cheeseberry, the only player I'm slightly worried about just because he is so lacking in Navy. But he's catching up quickly, and he's completely kind of skipped the T1 phase. And he's just going to straight go for T2 and T2 only. I'd like to maybe even see him go for a T2 land factory, a few of them, just to get up asylums and ascendants, if not for blazes, but for that hover flak option, which we do have a decent amount now starting to pour out of the base of Arma. Would love to see some asylums also joining his unit mix, as he has managed to get himself up just some ascendant factories, but asylums could be huge here. They give you 3,000 HP on every ship they can get near, and it can mean a lot, as a destroyer for Cheeseberry going to be going down here to the aggression coming out from Arma 473. I feel like this would have been a lot better placed 4 to 5 minutes ago. His aggression could have gained him something then, but now it's starting to look like destroyers will be pumped out just fast enough to cause problems for Cheeseberry, or for Arma if he does go for a full attack. And in the Southern Navy, does seem as though Early Doors and Leto 2 in their combined might are going to be able to fight up against McDonald's, but I'm not seeing too many T2 units over here, just a couple of Barracudas, but destroyers beat Barracudas mass for mass, and he has more mass in the destroyers than Leto 2 has in his Barracudas. Some destroyers now starting to pop out for Leto 2. Early Doors has a lot of resistance onto this factory. Surprised he hasn't tried to go for maybe T2 Navy. He's not really producing land. It seems he's going for a bit of everything, maybe even going to go for a T3 Air HQ, but he's just ecoing up for now. A lot of units now making their way into the lines of production for Cheeseberry, but Cheeseberry has now thrown up a bunch of factories. And it's going to start getting harder and harder to press this issue, especially with all of the mass that's now going to be available for reclaim and all the engineers in the area for Cheeseberry. A huge spider screen over here from JT, making sure that nothing can come stop the torpedo bombers. Cheeseberry built up to help with that. And that attack repelled quite easily by the 2100 Aeon player. As down here to the south, a bunch of Cybran ships clash, and it does seem as though the overwhelming number of frigates coming out from McDonald's is just going to be the deciding factor here. And now we're looking towards a very revealing map. I think with that hold and with the overwhelming number of T2 units being produced and all of this reclaim being dropped on him, Cheeseberry will be able to turn the tides up here. And on the southern side, it's just looking like there might be a full naval collapse coming out from early doors and Leto too, as McDonald's just a powerhouse of an economy right now, over 500 mass a second. He's about to achieve full T3 mexes, only has one more after this one finishes to upgrade. And he is going to be a force to be reckoned with for sure. Even now going for possible RAS SCU production, he wants to be the strongest economy in the game and to maintain that for the entire game. And so far he's doing well. Both teams have crested 1,000 mass per second in total. As Cheeseberry starts pushing out, the mass exodus is gonna be very dangerous. And Arma gonna need to start thinking about fleeing. Although he does have enough exodus himself for the moment. But Cheeseberry still, oh, no longer ahead of Arma. Arma's managed to get the economic advantage now. So Cheeseberry gonna be in a rough spot, needs to make sure he's microing these destroyers very well. Over to the east, a whole bunch of torpedo bombers now out from Cheeseberry, coming to assist against McDonald's. He doesn't want the obesity-inducing fast food restaurant chain to cause the demise of his healthy friends over to the east. And we settle in for a protracted game. Neither side getting decisive advantages, although McDonald's does have a lot of factories now producing reclaiming engineers, which can be quite huge. I'm gonna go ahead and pause again because I feel like I'm gonna go through another coughing fit. Alrighty everybody, I'm back, and of course back into the game. We need to look over here to the east. Those reclaiming factories, mainly just here to get out engineers to reclaim this huge naval fight, 20,000 mass in total, gonna be assailed by the navies, which are sailing their way to assailment in the most asinine way. It's not really asinine, this is just a really good play coming out from Leto too, and I'm trying too hard to be funny or something, I don't know. You all know what you came, everybody knows what they came for when they click on a video. Willow? A Willow video. Oh my god. As the frigates, cruisers, and destroyers, oh my, wreak havoc on the civilian population. Those poor Cybran engineers. They're not going to live to tell their kids about the time they built a power generator or the thousands upon thousands of mass they've reclaimed. Whoa! A Tempest! I just came over here because I noticed the engineers were looking wonky. Oh my. That is... oh man, Cheeseberry. I like Cheeseberry. Cheeseberry has said, screw T3, I'm going straight to T4, and he has decided on Tempest technology. He is here to raise a storm and bring Arma 473 to his knees, as Arma has stopped production for some reason. I think maybe he's focusing on getting more T3 mexes, or maybe he was having some power struggles. Hasn't quite gotten to T3 well, he has and he has. Where's his T3 engineers? He doesn't have T3 anything, does he? And it's an Aeon T3 reactor. It has to be from him. Is that a T3 naval factory? No, it's not. What black magic fuckery is this? Who else has Aeon tech? Oh, his commander is T3. Okay. That makes sense. He's trying to deal with power problems, and that just took way too long for me to realize that he had a T3 commander. And he wants to be able to fix those before resuming production, but that may be very dangerous as the Tempest completes. A lot of people rag on the Tempest for being bad, but on Seton's, I think it's a great map for it because it doesn't really have any pathfinding issues, and it's still a really good, really good unit. Like, it does I think it's like 7,500 damage with each shell. Let's just check. 8,000 damage. I underestimated it. It does enough to one-shot these destroyers. If it hits a destroyer that hasn't vetted a couple of times, it one-shots it. That's how powerful this thing's gonna be. We'll have to check in on that in a second, as down here to the southeast, we have Mass Galaxy starting to come out for McDonald's, and he has the strongest economy in the game. We're just gonna see these galaxies being thrown up with haste. He's already up to 3. His opponents are working on their first, and this is gonna be dangerous for the northern team on this pond. But luckily for them, they have a battleship of their own, and there's not really any boat bigger than the Tempest. So we can't quote Jaws. Well, we can, because we can say that Arma's gonna need a bigger boat. As we make our way forward, we have the commander of McDonald's gonna be dropped into the water. Interestingly enough, has RAS, no other upgrades though. And, whoa, that's a RAS preset. Ignore everything I'm saying. I can't catch anything apparently. I mean, the commander even has a different logo for me, doesn't it? Yeah, the commander has a white box. Why did I think that? And McDonald's, wow, he's already sitting on a lot of RAS boys. Let's just check the number on that really quick. 7 RAS boys already for McDonald's, and that number's just gonna keep going up. There's a lot of assistance on this factory, and it's just gonna keep pumping them out. And he's now starting to build AA and harms in this northern pond, as he's dropped a bunch of engineers over here to help build up a T3 naval HQ, and he's building galaxies now in the northern pond. McDonald's just everywhere doing everything. And we just have a slog on our hands. We can just get some beautiful shots of navies doing their thing. And their thing is disgusting, but I love it. It's just a lot of damage. Shells flying every which way. Up here to the north, you can see some Tempest aggression coming out. A Galaxy is already finished over here for McDonald's because he builds them like they're absolutely nothing. And the Tempest misses with that shot, but that's okay because there's a second one coming up behind him. And even if you miss pretty often, the more of these you get, and there's a third one in the background building, the more you can just see these players throwing a lot of their economy around. Let's go ahead and check on Reclaim. 23,000 for early doors. JT sitting on 20,000. Leto 2 at 18,000. Team 1 as a whole doing way better in Reclaim, but in overall mass production, Team 2 has come out to a 200 mass a second lead, mostly off the back of McDonald's, but we can't minimize the effect of Arma's and Mize's economies, as Arma is the fourth highest eco player behind Cheeseberry and JT. Torpedo bombers being used liberally around the map, as Cheeseberry trying to push out both McDonald's and Arma 473 from this position. T3 Navy has been achieved, an Omen class about to finish up. Oh wait, yeah, that's the Omen. Yeah, that's the Omen. I thought it was a Kiefer for a second. Gotta make sure you're not mistaken Omens for Kiefers. As over here to the south, We have galaxy on galaxy violence, but one player just has way more galaxies. How many is McDonald sitting on? In the past few minutes, he's managed to build up 8 of these beautiful, beautiful galaxy-class battleships, which is a total of 64,000 mass. Holy crap. He's gotten a lot of mass so far. He's already accrued over 500,000 mass total in overall production and reclaim this game. And now with a third Tempest on the map, you have to start wondering how many galaxies are gonna be needed on this northern side, and how much can McDonald's invest over here. I know McDonald's has deep pockets, but this is a lot of area to be covering. He does have the strongest economy by a country mile, but he has to make sure he doesn't misplay this, that he doesn't mess up in the southern pond, investing too much in this northern one. Because he needs to win at least one of the ponds if their team is going to have any chance in this game. As torpedo bombers out from JT and from Leto too, wreaking havoc. But up here to the north, the battleships and frigates out from McDonald's have done all but destroy the naval ambitions of Early Doors. Early Doors working on a fat boy. A 4th Tempest begins production as a few units manage to sneak up here. A few T2 even mix in here to help kill off some of these T3 mexes. That's going to hurt the economy of Cheeseberry quite a little bit. Don't ever want to see yourself losing those T3 mexes. They're very important. Asylum's going to come online to help, but all 3 T3 mexes go down. And that's going to give Arma an economic advantage in this northern pond. Looking really bad for Cheeseberry now. He needs to keep his economic supremacy strong. Has a nuke launcher. That could be huge, but there's already been an anti-nuke for a while down here for McDonald's. And I believe that this one anti-nuke will protect from most nuclear strikes against his base from that particular nuke launcher. Also has one on his main shore, so that is more than protected. And of course, he is using all of his 800 mass a second and is really letting the northern team know that he means business. Sure, the Tempests are slowly gaining ground. Sure, the navies of Arma 473 are falling to the wayside. But McDonald's is still here, still trying to hold on to some semblance of control over the northern pond. And on the southern pond, he has more than a semblance. He has absolute dominance as these Trident-class frigates come to stab the enemy right where it hurts. And where it hurts is the production line. And Leto, too, he's relatively low on economy this game. Second lowest only next to Early Doors. And he's just not really holding on very well in this game. Still has unupgraded mexes, needs to get full T3 mexes and even get into that RAS SCU production if anybody wants to keep up with the economy of McDonald's, who is up to 16 RAS SCUs and counting. He's just building so many anti-airs. How many anti-airs does he already have? 23. The man is just, he's like, I'm not trusting air. He sees this air wing coming out from JT, and all of these torpedo bombers out over here just doing huge damage, but they're focusing onto the Galaxy classes. I don't know what's best here. I think I would rather focus down the frigates, but he can't really fight the Galaxies because he's just behind in overall count. So I guess killing both is just as good. But the frigates are going to get in and they're going to really hurt the production. They just have to kill the engineers to hurt the production here. And he's already lost a ton of factories over here next to this island of his, along with all of the mass extractors on that island. As up here to the north, the Tempest Quartet is going up against multiple Galaxy classes. A few have died over here, 3 in fact. And there's a ton of omens now coming out of the factory, but will it be enough? bunches of T3 engineers now starting to come out from these factories over here. And both sides just duking it out with each other on this northern pond, but on the southern pond, it seems like it's getting close to being a formality as to who will win, because McDonald's seems more than willing to sacrifice 6 battleships just to kill off some production, as he's able to just spew out battleships faster than anybody else in this game so far. He's lost some T3 mexes, but he doesn't care about T3 mexes whenever he's getting so many RAS support comms, about to crest 20. And you have to remember, each of these is worth 11 mass a second. They're more than a T2 mex, and they walk around and they build things and they can reclaim. Is the new UI thing still working in this replay, where it will tell me how much an engineer has reclaimed? I'm not seeing it if it does. Yeah, it doesn't seem to be working properly. Oh well. Issue for future me to figure out. Maybe it's a mod stopping that. Or maybe, do I have to select the unit to see that? No, it's just not showing. But nevertheless, more torpedo bombers coming in, but this is a dangerous attack. McDonald's just in the area has 34 SAMs. The air numbers for JT are going to collapse rapidly. 225, watch this number. It's just going to keep going down the longer he stays here. 222, 221. This is not a good place for his ASF to be. 217. He lost a lot of ASF to do that, just constantly ticking down there as he flew over all those SAMs. 170 for PB-Mize, but it looks like more because they're more spread out. And that torpedo bomber attack really achieved very little. And now, overall, McDonald's has 54 SAMs, and he's just continuing to build them. One of the Tempests has gone down, another one slated to take its place. The Omen classes can fight it. Strategic launch detected. Where is it headed? It's headed for Arma 473. He has an anti-nuke, but it's not loaded. And Arma may be in danger of dying here. He's also going to lose 2 of his very critical T3 power generators. And now Arma 473 is going to be taken down with a decisive blow against both his economy and his future capabilities to defend against nukes. It's very hard to get that nuke defense rebuilt in time. He has to start building it very soon as the nuke lands. It's our first nuke of the game. Let's see if Cheeseberry builds very many more. As the Navy for McDonald's is becoming arguably mostly structures. He has so many factories, so many SAMs. At this point, wouldn't be surprised if we just saw him start arms creeping him with all of these RAS SCUs. Let's go ahead and get another count on that check. Up to nearly 25 RAS SCUs, and he's even built a RAS SCU production zone back here and upgrading it all to T3 hives. He's about to crest 1,000 mass a second. Closest person behind him is probably Cheeseberry at a 560 or so. Ugh. And torpedo bombers have kind of been his bane, but he's just said, well, fuck it. If they're annoying me, I'll just build more SAMs. Since the last time we checked, we went from 54 to 74. He's built 30 in a couple of minutes. Man is insane. And now it seems like the walls are closing in on this northern pond for Team 2. Despite the strong work coming out from McDonald's, Cheeseberry is doing very well, and he's doing it by himself. There has been no assistance. He doesn't have 2 bases, and he's fighting both McDonald's and Arma 473 back. He's also getting a decent chunk of the reclaim from it, up to 664,000. But McDonald's over 100,000 reclaim alone, and now over 1,000 mass a second. Another Tempest completes, but the economy and the build power out from McDonald's looking oppressive. What's going on back here? We have a Maver on the way. It's already halfway done. Oh, that could be huge. JT sitting on the third arguably highest economy, 500 mass a second, and your third fiddle is huge. And he's gonna have the Maver done in a matter of, I'd argue, probably minutes, especially if he suspends air production like he's done. All of the mass he has is going into that. Needs to be careful not to let his ASF just get caught out on the ground, though. And Early Doors has basically been ousted from his naval ambitions. The Fat Boy could help a little bit with combating the Navy, but it's significantly shorter range than most naval units. And over here to the east, a line of battleships out for Leto 2, the only thing keeping him in this game, but those die to frigates relatively efficiently. So gotta be careful and needs to make sure that he's focus firing the battleships out from McDonald's and continues his own production. JT is being thrown all of the mass. Stop sending torps. I have 1 billion SAMs. Yeah, that's getting pretty accurate. He's almost over 100 SAMs. It's big to be over 100 frigates, and he has 100 SAMs. I mean, I'm sure he also has over 100 frigates. Nope, only 51. He has almost twice as many SAMs as he has frigates. Tempests, 4 of them still alive over here on the northern side, all of them getting veterancy, all of them being used very effectively by Cheeseberry, paying themselves off and then some. And Arma gonna struggle here. He's built up another anti-nuke, but he can't really afford to actually load it. I mean, he now has his economy in a little bit of a better position, but it's gonna require a lot of help. And now over here to the east, this is just a ridiculous sight. Look, these RAS SCUs are just walking underneath battleships. They don't care. They're just out here. They're probably gonna build more SAMs. Maybe they're just reclaiming. I don't know what they're doing, but they're doing it in style. At this point, just start building harms. Stealth now on the way for McDonald's, realizing that he's a strong snipe target. But even if you snipe him, his economy just probably goes to Arma or Mize. It has to go to one of them. And that would still be huge. How many RAS SUs does the man have? Oh my god, that's over 40. That's nearing 50. Like, he's making wait, 1 second. I think this is accurate. He's making 173 mass from these at the moment. And that doesn't, and if any of them are building, that number goes down. That is insane. And you know they're building because they're negative on energy. Oh my lord. Oh, first SCU death over here on the northern side with Cheeseberry. I'm assuming we're going to see a few die over here for our main man, McDonald's, as he's reclaiming battleships with RAS SCUs. Not a sentence I thought I'd wake up and say today, but that is indeed what's going on. And the battleships out from McDonald's have completely cleared out this island. Or not this island, this spawn point for Leto 2. And it's looking desperate, but if there was ever a desperate measure you could take, finishing a Maver is one of them. And it's one hell of a desperate measure. This is gonna really hurt Pretty much everybody but McDonald's. McDonald's is the only one who has any kind of preparation for this outcome of a Maver finishing. Everybody else is gonna have struggles, and here we go. Guile's favorite unit, the phallic doombringer of FAF, is getting ready to fire for the first time, staring down the barrel of a 45 or something like that. And there we go. Let's just get a really cool shot of this. Kaboom! All right. And with that, the aspects of this game changes. Why can't I get... Okay, I was hitting the wrong button. The Maver shells are now starting to come down. I think one maybe has already landed, but they're going for the air grid. We're gonna keep the mini-map on screen. Leto 2 is collapsing. The base of PB Mize is not long for this world. First shell breaks the shields and it takes down a T3 mass extractor. More are going to come. And here we stand. 3. Let's see. Ooh! A few factories and a power generator go down there. But we're waiting for that huge chain reaction that we know comes. Shield pops up just in time to save these factories for just a little bit more. I think Mize understands that all he's fighting for at the moment with these shields is just time. Time for a few more units to be produced. And he's producing T3 engineers. Oh man, the shield's being incredibly lucky for PB Mize, but I think the next shell seals the fate. As down it's gonna come. Ooh, that shell was actually lucky for Mize yet again. Only killing in a periphery thing, no direct connections with the air grid just yet. But the Maver does not care. Oh, it breaks through and down goes the entire... Well, not the entire thing, but the majority of the air grid is down. I think that got the HQ as well. If not, the second shell there did. And that is unfortunate for PB Mize, who is now using broadswords to try and kill off a lot of this stuff, and he just has air control. But JT now able to send all of that mass and spend it back onto air, and he should be able to maintain air control here soon. He's gonna have a much stronger economy, and of course keenly, most keenly, the production, because the production is gonna go down now. And Arma gives his base to Mize and Control K. Is there something in the chat? I have to go to work. Well, okay, do you mind if I leave? Give to Mize. Gotcha. Alright, well, I mean, it's polite. Most people sign up for a Seton's game are thinking 45 minutes would be the max. But this game is far from decided. That Maver gonna be very hard to contend with, already killing off 42,000 mass, and one of the key things is the Maver is really good at removing reclaim with how much damage it does. All of these whalers over here just chilling over the water. Needs to be careful about fuel. Don't want to run out. Takes a lot longer for gunships than most to run out of fuel, but still something to keep in mind. A bunch of battleships now assailing early doors, who's been relatively quiet this game. He was building some Navy and he built some torpedo bombers, but hasn't had a huge impact on the game. Let's go ahead and check. Oh no, this is gonna be a big number. Oh my, ooh. Almost 80. Almost 80 RAS SCUs producing. Okay, apparently this is wrong. Yeah, apparently that's just wrong. That's not what I was looking for. But that is huge. As over here to the west, PB Mize and McDonald's are about to be ousted. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Tempests. Cheeseberry also sitting on a stupid number of RAS SUs. Sitting over 30. And he has over 800 mass a second. But overall, I'd put my money on the Southern team so far. A pause out from Cheeseberry. But here at Willow Industries, we stop for no one, so those pauses come and go much quicker. And I'm seeing something spicy happening. That is 14 nuke subs. Alright. I think McDonald's has decided on a strategy for combating the Maver. Does the other team know? I don't think they do so far. They do have anti-nuke, as you would expect this late into a game. I actually have multiple anti-nukes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5... Oh, they've spotted it then. Question is, can they afford it? JT has most of the anti-nukes. Early Doors sitting on one of them. And Leto's sitting on one of them. Leto's the only one with mass. So these are going to load very slowly. But the Cold War has begun, and it's going to be hot very soon. 14 nuke subs. I think he's still producing them, maybe. I mean, one just came out of the factory. But that is a force to be reckoned with. He's spread them out very tactically just to make sure that they don't get killed off by one thing. How many anti... We're just playing the how many of this does McDonald's have. Still 92. Has not upped the number, or I guess he lost a bunch over here. As currently Cheeseberry sieging up against PB Mize. PB Mize not really even trying to fight in the Navy anymore. He's just given up on it. And it's looking dire on this northern side for the Southern team. This northwestern pond going very poorly, but the same can be said for the northern team and the southeastern side. Both sides have a titan of a player fielding a strong economy, but McDonald's is ahead, key to note, as we crest the 50-minute mark here in just a couple of minutes and are no closer to finding our victor than we were 45 minutes ago. And McDonald's has built an experimental unit. His RAS SCU production has been targeted, and he is rebuilding T3 mexes where his ally lost them. That's some play, all right. Lots of AA, which means air is going to be very difficult to use for any kind of positive outcome. Is McDonald spending all of his mass? No, he's not even coming close. Has enough in storage to build multiple experimentals, as he's sometimes over 2,000 mass a second, depending on reclaim, but now he's unable to spend it. Going to be overflowing on mass soon, but he's throwing so much mass into nuke subs right now. They're all passively building, I would assume. 16 nuke subs. This one just finished loading. And Team 1 needs to make sure they have enough anti-nukes. They've built the structures, but it doesn't seem like they really have any of these loaded. All of the ones I hover over aren't loaded. This one here, one is loaded. That one's not loaded. That one's not loaded. He's building so many of these anti-nukes, but he's not loading them, which is the key thing to note here. I don't know what's better, to have all of them passively building and wait for that large wave of anti-nuke finishing, but he just doesn't have the economy for it, it would seem. As Titans and Percivals out from early doors being dropped over here onto this island, along with a bunch of RAS SUs. We also have Of course, some RAS SCUs over here that could make landfall very quickly. A Monkey Lord finished up for McDonald's. He's coming to serve you, and Leto has his own Monkey Lord to deal with it, so not a huge issue. As we continue along our merry way, I'm gonna speed it up. It's not particularly looking like anything's gonna develop anytime soon, and we can only go to +1 anyways, so we'll just keep it sped up for the remainder of the game, because we are in for one of those long stalemated conflicts. The Maver is going to target a lot of power generation, I would assume. That's the only real hard target you can hit that would matter at this point in time. Oh man, I didn't know RAS SCU survived that. But that was huge. At least one of them dies. Oh, more Maver shells landing. How will the northern team fare? It seems that McDonald's is ready and the nukes are being launched. Starts with a wave of 2.
Strategic launch detected.
3 more coming out. 4. We have currently 6 nukes in the air. 2 are going to be shot down immediately. Will any land? We will find out soon enough. 2 more fire out, but 1 is going to land! No! It's a disaster! Another lands! Oh my! They had all of these anti-nukes built, but they weren't able to defend when it mattered most. GG's being thrown out in chat. This area being turned to nothing more than a crater. More nukes landing. Oh my. Nukes coming out from the northern team now. 1 out from Cheeseberry fired in response. It's gonna kill off the naval production for McDonald's. Oh my lord, so many nukes! Most of these going for Cheeseberry, I would assume. In fact, all of them. 4 more nukes. Gonna fly at Cheeseberry. 1 gets shot down, 2 gets shot down, 3 gets shot down, 4 gets shot down. But 5 and 6 are coming out. He has a bunch of anti-nukes. That's 3 more nukes. Oh, lordy, lordy. Cheeseberry. One of these will land, if not all of them. Oh, no. Oh, it hurts, but it's so beautiful to watch. JT did something few players ever do in a normal match. I don't know if that nuke killed any nuke subs, but last time I counted he had 16. How many does he have now? 22, so it doesn't matter. Strategic launch detected. Where is this nuke? There's so many nukes. Oh, nukes coming out from Cheeseberry. He has a nuke sub over here. Gonna launch and kill off a lot of aircraft carriers. More nukes. There's just nukes everywhere. Everywhere you look, there's nukes. Oh my lord, strategic launch detected. You don't even need to tell me anymore. I'm gonna assume it. Oh, here it comes. And these anti-nukes that weren't loaded earlier are now loaded, but strength in numbers. If brute force isn't working, you're not using enough. And McDonald's is a strong believer in that tenet. Oh, he's even trying to hit SCUs now. He's about to hit a whole bunch of Cheeseberry's SCUs. Oh! It gets shot down by the anti-nuke over here. Okay. Oh man, the anti-nuke's they're putting in overtime, but McDonald's is coming to serve you, and he has thermonuclear burgers for each and every one of you. Oh man, when you gotta have a plan B, you may as well be Cybran. Because right now, McDonald's has more than a plan B. He has plan B through Z. With all of these plan B strategic missile submarines. Yeah, it's looking pretty ogre for the northern team. JT, the only one with an intact base. Cheeseberry still over 1,000 mass a second. A nuke lands over here. Cheeseberry gonna try and wage maybe a land warfare against McDonald's. How many subs did he end up with? 23. Let's just check the veterancy. Let's see which nuke sub killed the Maver is the question. Not that one. Not that one. Not that one. Not that one. One of these nuke subs killed a Maver. 84,000, 2,000. Did the one that killed a Maver die? If the one that killed a Maver died, that's depressing. I mean, still, all of these have a lot of veterancy, the ones that have, like, fired and landed. Let's just, let's go ahead and select all of them so we can just quickly check. Not you. Not you. Not you. Maybe you. Maybe it doesn't report correctly when you kill a Maver. 84,000, 84,000. 188,000. That is maybe it. I think 188,000 is it. $138,000. A bunch of bombers coming out from JT to try and stop any land aggression from coming forward. Man, that is brutal.
Strategic launch detected.
Strategic launch detected. A bunch of nukes now coming out from nuke subs from Cheeseberry. He's opted for the same warfare that McDonald's has used so successfully against him. And now he is going to be wiping off this rearguard base once and for all. So many nukes. And a Scathis has been completed by McDonald's. He's going to be using that very well. And here comes the first or maybe second shellings out from that powerful weapon. And JT gonna very quickly lose his air grid. The next rain of shells will do it. These players have gone from the beginning of the game, which was much like the Stone Age, to the mid-game where everybody was rich and prosperous, and now they're slowly reverting back to form as they nuke each other back into the Stone Age. These strong empires are going to be fractions of what they once were.
Strategic launch detected.
Cheeseberry asking, are you over 2,000 eco by now? Cheeseberry, so if so, I'll leave. 1.9k, so you can stay. Cool. Nah. Where? Beach, probably, huh? I give mass, almost finished with Scathis. We need nuke. Oh, they have their own Scathis, which could counterfire at the enemy Scathis, and is doing, to stop this Scathis from firing. Is it just gonna die here? Nope, he's gonna move it. He gave it a move order into the water.
Strategic launch detected.
Strategic launch detected is all we will hear for the rest of this game. We've probably heard strategic launch detected upwards of 40 or 50 times. I'll probably go back in this replay and actually count the exact number of strategic launches and be like, clickbait it like, over 100 nukes? I'm putting over 100 nukes either way. This is ridiculous.
Strategic launch detected.
Oh my lord. All of the anti-nukes over here are trying, but they're all getting low on well, anti-nuke missiles. Any of these remaining loaded? There's a few that are about to be done, but it's just too much. There are just too many Plan Bs.
Strategic launch detected.
Curious as to why McDonald's feels safer down here in this corner. I would feel safer right about here. But maybe he's thinking like, oh, the nukes, a nuclear snipe could happen. Oh no! Some of these nuke subs are gonna die. Oh no, they're not. Like one SAM is gonna die. Two SAMs. And was that was a nuke that killed off, didn't even kill off Tempests. May have killed off nuke subs. How many does Cheeseberry had? I saw 4 or 5 earlier. He has 27. Okay.
Strategic launch
He's having
detected.
some power and mass struggles, but he has a lot of nuke
Strategic
subs.
launch detected.
Oh, he's just carpet nuking the water, it would seem. In comes the fire on the enemy Scathis. 2 Scathis is done now for McDonald's. Loses one of them. Not even shielding them. Oh my lord. Nukes coming in left and right. I mean, this Scathis should just die to nukes. I'm sure there's plenty of loaded nuke subs.
Strategic launch detected.
Oh man, Cheeseberry.
Strategic launch detected.
Cheeseberry and McDonald's trying to out-nuke each other. Although I feel like McDonald's having the early head start. I don't think he has as many nuke subs. No, he doesn't. But he has definitely been building nukes longer, and holy crap. Also, there's a nuke right there. Those could have all died if they didn't move further away.
Strategic launch detected.
Who just launched? Another couple of nukes heading this way, and they're gonna land, I think. Oh, no they're not. There's even more anti-nukes loaded. It feels like McDonald's should be able to win this with PB Mize giving him air cover and everything, but I don't know. It's such a strange situation where both sides have no real weapon to kill the enemy commanders. The enemy commanders are in these ponds, and they're just so unassailable there. With no air, there's no way you get into the water conventionally.
Strategic launch detected.
And there's not nearly enough air production left over to really make anything happen.
Strategic launch detected.
Oh my god, I've heard strategic launch detected so many times. This is ridiculous. Oh, is this nuke gonna kill nuke subs?
Launch detected.
I mean, yeah, it will.
Strategic launch detected.
It'll kill 2 of them. That's a victory. There's just nukes everywhere. You know what?
Strategic launch detected.
This feels like a game where we're just gonna sit back. We're gonna cast it. We're gonna cast it this way. I don't like that angle. That way. Nukes coming in to the base yet again of JT, who just seems to have infinite amounts of anti-nuke now. Which, valid. As it seems that Cheeseberry is much more focused on nuking the naval targets of our main man McDonald's here.
Strategic launch detected. Strategic launch detected.
Oh, that's a lot of nukes. If any of these nukes land on the critical mass of nuke subs that currently Cheeseberry has, I think Cheeseberry control Ks. Oh no. Cheeseberry probably control Ks. That's where I'd control K. If I hadn't already.
Strategic launch detected.
all of the Scathis died, except for maybe one. One Scathis survives over here. Interesting. You never see this piece of land actually used for anything, but here, it was. It was a perfect situation. And down falls all of the empires built by these players. Let's speed it up some more and see if we can get any more speed, because I honestly have no idea who's going to win this one. I've kind of run out of points to talk about. Just the incessantly constant amount of nukes flying around. It's a bloodbath for sure, but neither side willing to capitulate. Let's go ahead and check in on RAS SCU count, because I think that might just decide it. 140, 150-ish for McDonald's, and Cheeseberry on 50. Overall economies, Cheeseberry is down about half. A nuke lands, but doesn't kill the Scathis because terrain? That feels like it should have. Nuke lands over here, more nukes landing. That could be kind of significant. I don't know. McDonald, no. All of these T3 power generators could go down and legit just wouldn't matter. How do you win a game like this? Slowly is apparently the answer. As we're pressing the hour and 14-minute mark and we're not sure who's going to win. I do think it probably comes down to somebody control Kang. Very surprised JT is still alive. Strat Snipe came in to try and kill him. Didn't work. Teleporter on the way for PV Mize. A significant land force appearing now for JT, or for Cheeseberry. He has a GC. You can start walking in. But what do you realistically do? Nuke's now gonna try and snipe JT. And is gonna get him! As the map clears up a bit by bit, let's go ahead and just go down to a mild +2. More nukes landing, Scathis goes down. Cheeseberry still sitting in the water. Has a ton of nuke subs with multiple nukes loaded. There's really not any anti-nukes, you can just nuke all of it. He's not even trying to defend against nukes. Where's the commander? That is... Holy crap, that's like... so many bugs! Oh, there's all the bugs! Strategic launches being detected left and right, and bugs flying around killing everything in sight. Oh, this game was a game for sure. More nukes being launched everywhere.
Strategic launch detected.
Airfights going on. Mize is about to lose the last of his ASF, and these bugs are not long for this world. As Cheese has managed to find a way to survive all of this onslaught. Man is unkillable. He nukes down here and gets some value out of that. More nukes landing over here. So many nukes. I need to find and kill you. Not happening. Your boner isn't happening ever again. PB Mize kills. Oh, he was on the island. PB Mize killed him with the telemaser. No, No, PB Mice dies! He teleports over there and dies! Never mind, Cheeseberry is still alive! I was about to say, I thought Cheeseberry was in the water. Oh, man! We're in the end game now, boys! Thanos! The question is, who's Thanos and who's the event? Okay, well, McDonald's is the Avengers. Makes sense. McDonald's, American sponsorship, all that. But that was a spicy game. Thank you all for watching. You have been beautiful. Thank you for joining me today. Thank you to the Patreons and channel members. If you want more content like this, like and subscribe. It really helps me. And of course, if you want to support me further, consider Patreon, consider channel membership. Channel membership, you get things early, and Patreon, you get to get your name at the end of the videos. There we go. You're beautiful. This is Willow, signing off.
I lay down and I play dead and I stay dead, baby, you'll get